Hello, my dear friends. Yesterday, Sony held their May 2024 PlayStation State of Play, and I streamed it. It was a ton of fun. You can find the VOD over on Arlo Plays. We all had a great time, even if reception was largely negative, and we did spend most of the time making fun of what we were seeing, unfortunately. But on that note, let's get into it. This presentation was really interesting, because I don't know if I've ever seen a game presentation like this start so poorly and then kind of turn around by the end. Overall, the whole thing was pretty middling, but like starting with the absolute worst, the least interesting stuff. It was just the first third of this presentation was such a horrible slog, and then all of the best stuff was saved for the very, very end. And it's very funny, just the interest level. It starts all the way at the bottom and ends pretty far near the top. Quite funny. The presentation began with the big reveal of one of Sony's big new things, and it was Concord. And like I said, the first 10 or 11 minutes of the whole thing was dedicated to this. And as I was prepping this video here, I'm like, I don't think I can just talk about this here in this State of Play discussion video. I really genuinely might have to make a full video on the main channel, because this game, to me, this game feels like the magnum opus, just the pinnacle of tropey, focus-tested, by-the-numbers, AAA schlock. Everything about it. It's a 5v5 hero shooter. It's basically Overwatch. But then, like, the trailer itself, it's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's everything Marvel. It's everything quips. It's everything. It's every character trope you've ever seen, all rolled into one, and I can't even begin to crack it open and talk about it here. And the fact that it took up most of the show, right at the beginning, they just won't stop talking about it. This long trailer and all these developers talking about how important it is and how passionate they are about it. And it's just, there's so much to say about it. And that it really brought down the show. Let's just say that. It did not look good. Most of the people at least in the chat on my stream, we were all pretty much in agreement. Like I said, we were all kind of laughing at it. I mean, I won't get on anyone's case if this is your thing, but I don't like it. And so yeah, stay tuned. I'm probably gonna make a bigger video about it. So that was what started off the show. It wasn't a good start. Let's just say it really was not a good start. And then the middle of the show was kind of taken up by just kind of whatever stuff. I'm not going to hit every single game here. You had a couple little, like, first-party things. Oh, remaster and PC release of, like, Until Dawn. Like, okay. And then PC release of God of War Ragnarok and that kind of thing. Okay. And then some other multi-platform stuff that was just kind of here just because a lot of games that look kind of the same. One interesting standout was Infinity Nikki, open world anime dress-up game. It looks interesting. It's not my thing. I'm not gonna play it, but I like watching presentations like this because I just like seeing interesting new games. I like seeing unique projects. Even if I'm not gonna play them, I like to see the trailer, I like to think about it, I like to talk about it, and this was interesting. It's like, the graphics are like pretty nice. It's this pretty nice looking fantasy world. There's all this magic, but then it's also like a dress-up game. It's also like this fashion kind of thing. It just seemed like a very interesting mix of ideas, and I don't know. I thought that was cool. I'll give it that. Infinity Nikki. That's pretty cool. Open world too. Interesting. And then there was like a VR game, Behemoth, where you have to run away from a giant elephant seal or something. It's just like there's a giant but it's an elephant seal for some reason, which is, I mean, that's cool. Elephant seals are terrifying. If I was going to make a giant creature in a video game, make it intimidating, make it look like an elephant seal. Why not? But that's kind of cool. With VR, I mean, the whole point of VR is the immersion, so I think the idea of having a really giant creature gives you that sense of scale. I always like that in VR games. Anything, when you're looking at something really big, and that's when it actually kind of feels like you're there. It feels like, oh my gosh, like I'm feeling the sense of scope there. So I thought that was, I don't know, that was kind of a cool idea. And then near the end, the last 1/3. So we had the first third of the show was just the most cringe-inducing, blah, just gaggy, just gag fest. And the middle of the show was just kind of like, okay, that's fine, whatever. These are some games. But then they save all the best stuff for last. Kind of going into the last part of the show, we got an actual full, like, gameplay and everything trailer for Silent Hill 2 Remake. I've not really been, like, closely following it. I did not play the original. I feel like most of what I'm hearing from people is, like, kind of negative about what they've been seeing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know the original. I don't know, like, what looks good or bad about the new stuff. The trailer was kind of cool. I don't know. To me, it looks like a horror game. Had some, some decent visuals and stuff. So I'm kind of curious to know how that turns out. I don't know. I might play it. The dialogue looks really just cheesy and hokey and stilted, and I'm there for it. I like it. That's what I like to see in my horror games. But then we got into the real stuff. I mean, there was definitely a part of me that was like, yeah, it'd be cool if we saw something Monster Hunter Wilds. I didn't really expect it though, but then we did. We got a big old trailer for Monster Hunter Wilds, and it looks fantastic. It looks really great, and I was saying this during the stream. It's cool how this trailer is exciting and it shows off a lot, but it's still a relatively simple trailer. It's showing off a relatively small number of areas, a relatively small number of monsters. There's no mention at all of whatever, like, the big, the big box baddie is gonna be or whatever. This is all just, like, smaller creatures. You got, like, the lion kind of guys and stuff. It's pretty simple, and yet this was still really enough to get me excited. It still felt like a really nice, substantial trailer. The graphics are looking good. It showed off a lot more interaction between the monsters, and that's something that I've only played Rise. I didn't play Worlds or whatever, but I like that the monsters could fight, and I want to see more advanced, complicated interactions between them. So there's, like, part of the trailer where there's, like, 3 monsters ganging up on one bigger one. So that looks really cool. And then there was a bunch of info that came in the press release after the fact. Apparently, it's not going to be truly open world, which is disappointing. I was really hoping for an open world kind of thing, but as long as they make it feel a little bit more open, that's okay. I don't want quite the really, like, restricted mission structure. Not super into that, but I don't know. We'll see. It does talk about combining dynamically to bring an immersive and constantly changing Monster Hunter ecosystem to life. So it could be that there is a little bit more of a kind of a fluid ecosystem rather than just like the drop in, drop out kind of thing. And I know you got a little bit of that in Rise, sort of, but I don't know. We'll see. Then it seems you're going to be able to carry a second weapon with you, so you can change weapons during a hunt. That's pretty cool. And then they talked about something called focus mode, and they didn't really go into great detail what that is, but it apparently gives players, quote, more precise control over how they guard, aim, and attack in order to target a monster's weak points for big damage. Focus mode makes it easier to adjust your distance to the monster and aim your attacks, making the distinctive Monster Hunter hunting action more accessible to a wider variety of players. Some weapons will also feature distinctive moves that can only be used in this mode. So we don't exactly know what that means, but I'm all for it. Like, the wire bug in Rise was kind of its own just extra added gameplay element that made the gameplay pretty cool. So another thing, I trust Capcom, basically. They're very, very good at designing and iterating on their games, so I'm curious to see what this is. Yeah, overall, Monster Hunter Wilds, really, really pleasant surprise seeing that in the show. It's not even a PlayStation game. That's the thing. That's what's funny about these presentations. You can just bring in any old third party to give us a new trailer. It's not even just a PlayStation game, but it still acted as a win for the PlayStation Showcase, so sure. And then they ended with the big one. Astrobot. There was a rumor going around that there was going to be an Astrobot game revealed in the next few weeks, and that rumor was correct. This show that started out feeling like it was just not going to be anything, and then at the end, just against all odds, they reveal a new Astrobot game, and it's not, you know, the one that's on PS5 right now. It's more of a tech demo. It's just to kind of show off the controller and stuff. It's a cute little thing. There's a lot of little PlayStation references in there. Not really a full game though. This is the full game. This is a full Astrobot game, and it looks fantastic. I mean, it goes without saying. Like, we are getting a lot more 3D platformers these days, but like most of them are indie. But we don't really get that like Nintendo style, like AAA, super high budget, high polish 3D platformer. We don't get that a whole lot. And this is that. I mean, like, you could even just see from the gameplay here, it takes a lot of pages from the Mario book. It is a very Nintendo style 3D platformer, and that's only a good thing. It looks simply phenomenal. They're showing off all these different power-ups, all these different gameplay modes, loads and loads of different mechanics, these really big, just beautiful boss battles. The graphics are super good. It looks really polished and smooth and nice. But then it's Astrobot, so it's still full of all of these little like references, all these little the rappers in there. It's really, really cool. It looks fantastic, and I think that this might just end up being my second game on my PS5. Yes, the PS5 has been out for almost 4 years. It's pretty much halfway through its life already, and I will have 2 games. The first was Demon's Souls. That was a launch title, and it was a remake of an old game, so it barely even counts. And I technically got PSVR 2. I barely even played it. So there's that. But now, look at that. Look at that. They did it. Sony did it. A PS5 game. A PS5 exclusive game that I want to play. Oh, didn't think this day would come, but it has. So yeah, looks fantastic. Absolutely can't wait to play it. And I'm really glad that the show ended with that, because yeah, it like I said, it started so low and it ended so high. Very surprising. Overall, because of that very poor start and the middling, the rest of it, overall it wasn't the best show. The entertainment value did not average out to be very good. Monster Hunter Wilds and Astrobot kind of saved it at the end, but Sony, they got some problems right now. And it's not even really worth going into right here, right now in this video, but this presentation was indicative. It was par for the course for Sony right now, because yeah, they're having some problems. But yeah, okay, so that was that. Again, if you want to see all of my live reactions and everything, and then we just like chat for like an hour and a half after, you can go check out the VOD on Arlo Plays. I'm discovering that people really like live stuff. I know people have been begging me to like, you know, do like Nintendo Directs stream them for a really long time. I can definitely see that people really show up. People love live stuff. They love watching it together. And you know what? It was a heck of a lot of fun, and I do hope to do this kind of thing more in the future, especially now that I'm streaming more regularly and I got Topic Arlo to talk about this stuff. Yeah, quote-unquote E3 season coming up. We'll be getting full presentations from Capcom and stuff, and I'll probably be streaming some of those too. So, yeah, see you later.